Alright everyone, welcome back. Her silver armor screams. Cracks splinter every layer of magical energy protecting her. With not a second to lose, she closes the gap between herself and Gilgamesh. To counter Aya's destruction, Saber releases every drop of power at her command. Searching heat scorches the earth in all directions in a brilliant flash of light. I think they meant to say searing, but okay. Two titanically powerful sword clash. Their power so vast it creates a visible border as the two struggle against each other. But, is it all for nothing? Excalibur cannot beat Aya. Even if Saber risks her life and attacks without concern for the consequences, she can only push back just the smallest bit. The scales tilt in her favor of Aya, and Excalibur's light weakens, pushing Saber back. The Golden Knight draws Aya back, but then sees his enemy's renewed, reckless advance, so he pours yet more magical energy into Aya. There's no turning back now. All there is to do is to use this full power to utterly annihilate Saber. Aya's segment spins faster and faster and faster, reaching their maximum speed, and the light that envelops Saber cuts Excalibur down. But in the instant before that happens, Saber charges. A tiny opening created by Excalibur's power allows her to take a single step closer. In the instant she reaches that space, her noble phantasm appears. Darkness buffets Shiro as he were caught in a wind tunnel. There is no avoiding or deflecting darkness that coats space itself. Those swallowed by the darkness can only be consumed by it. He's corroding from the fingertips inward. His legs kick at the air as if swimming. His outstretched arms are swallowed up in the black mud. His vision fails him. It's like being erased. Shiro feels himself shrinking, but he refuses to die. He tries not to look away, pours every ounce of strength he has into resisting. He fights the darkness covering him, the pain trying to melt his body, and the curse trying to dissolve his mind. It's all in vain. No human could resist this corruption, and yet he continues to move. His arm is still raised, held out trying to grab something, but his heart is already broken. His thoughts are smoldered in darkness, and soon it will consume him. But in that moment, why did he remember that voice? A light in the darkness. The moment he realizes it's that light, everything runs in reverse. The switch flips. His thoughts gain speed, creating crackling sparks, and the form shape with an astonishing speed. He murmurs the spell to begin projection. In that instant, it's complete, skipping every step of the manufacturing process. He didn't need to reproduce it from scratch. The shape had already been engraved onto his very soul. It had been a part of Shiro and Emiya for so long that he'd perfectly memorized it. His fingertips, desperately reaching, move again. They grab hold of the object he created without concentration or spellcasting. Oh hell yeah. The world turns on its head, darkness eradicated by golden light. In Shiro's grasp, duplicated flawlessly, is Saber's sheath. And so, as Aya's all-destroying light burns away everything in its path, Saber releases her own noble phantasm. What appears before her is, without question, the sacred sword sheath. The mystics which shroud are unknown, but the sheath repels Aya's light. No, this is beyond simply defending its wielder. Instead, it cuts her off completely. The wall that keeps the filth of the outside world from Fairyland, a world that cannot be reached, forever isolated from the rest of the world. Saber is protected by the sheath of the sacred sword, and for a moment she exists apart from all reason and logic in this world. It is the greatest protection in the world. Nothing, Not even the 5 magics can pierce this perfect defense. And so the sheath is named Avalon. Avalon is the place King Arthur is said to have gone after dying, the utopia the king dreamed of, but could not yet reach. Gilgamesh sees the Grim Reaper raising its scythe. But it's too late. Ea won't stop rotating, and Gilgamesh can't retreat. How could he? Who could ever believe an attack with so much magical energy, such unimaginable power, could ever be blocked? A streak of blue surges forward. Saber's armor is gone. She shed her armor so she can use its magical energy in her sword. Beautiful. The moment he takes the sheath, the darkness is dispelled. The darkness surrounding Shiro Emiya, the darkness that contaminated his body, fades all at once. But this should come as no surprise. The sacred sword sheath protects its owner. That filthy mud could not possibly destroy the embodiment of the utopia the girl sought. He runs. In the instant the darkness is dispelled, he moves with all the speed of a comet. The priest, so assured of his own strength, and the boy, who could afford no such arrogance, face off. It is but an instant, but that instant decides the battle. Shiro Emiya runs, sometimes stumbling onto all fours. In one hand, he holds the dagger. He scrambles forward on his hands and knees toward the priest. Shiro doesn't stop. He thrusts the dagger of retribution to the priest's chest. The priest turns slowly, before he can leave. Shiro steps down on one foot to ground himself, and turns in a circle using the momentum of his dash. He inverts himself like a top, and he floods his left hand with magical energy. And like a whirlwind, woo! His magical energy pours into Azoth's blade, along with the word to trigger its release. Saber swings her golden sword. She must not have had energy to push herself back up. Saber keeps her sword down, head down. Gilgamesh stares wide-eyed at the knight as she cuts him in half. In the silence after, the wind whispers to the compound. There remains not a trace of the light that had flooded the area seconds ago. The two knights do not exchange words. They simply stand, facing each other, as the battle ends. Gilgamesh sighs. He lifts a hand and traces a finger along her cheek, as if to check the knight. His golden armor begins to fade. The bloody king of heroes starts to disappear. His finger slips away from her. The arm he'd raised to touch her falls weakly. He clicks his tongue in displeasure. Then, at the end, He smiles ironically and vanishes. Pale blue sparks flicker along the priest's form. They spread in all directions from where the dagger protrudes from his chest. No flesh falls away, and there's no sign of bleeding. Even so, the battle comes to an end. He's not even looking at me. Instead, he stares down at the dagger in his chest in confusion. The wind is blowing. A gust of wind blows from the hollow overhead, muffling the sound around him. In the silence that follows,
なぜお前がこの剣を持っている
Kotomina's voice is low, mumbling.
それは俺のじゃない。遠坂から預かったものだ。
I'm not sure how long he was thinking. He takes a deep breath and finally moves, having been motionless from the moment I charged him and impaled him with the blade.
そうか以前気まぐれでどこぞの娘にくれてやったことがあったあれは確か10年前かなるほど私も衰えるはずだ
Kotomina collapses. I watch it all unfold. Even on the brink of death, he spoke of himself as if he were talking about someone else. Finally, the priest sinks into that which he summoned, the very thing he wished for. And that is the end of Kire Kotomine. The true end of a long battle. With the enemy defeated, only one task remains. The dark hollow in the sky. The mud has stopped pouring from it, but that eerie void continues to quicken. It's the Holy Grail. The omnipotent Grail is said to be given to the winner of this war. The wind howls. With Kotomine gone, the power of binding Ilia vanishes. Ilia has been released from the hollow, and now she sleeps beside me. She doesn't seem to be in danger of dying. She'll probably wake up after we go home and have Tosaka look her over. The war is ended. No one else will get hurt. We won't have to lose anyone else now. No more masters, and the servants will disappear now that their roles are over. I knew this was going to happen. I climbed those long stairs with her earlier. We've already said our goodbyes. All that's left is to bring the curtain down on this whole war. I look up at the hollow and wait. My heart is empty as that void. And then she appears. She walks straight towards me, looking no different than when we first met. She stops once, we're close enough to touch each other. We neither ask about each other's well-being, nor offer any congratulations. This has already been decided. There's only one thing left to do.
聖杯を破壊します。それが私の役割です。
Saber starts walking forward. The strong wind coming from the hollow did not deter her. She approaches, one step at a time. She's within range. She quietly readies her sword and looks up at the black hollow. I just watch from where I stand. I clench my fists so hard they bleed. I bite my lip. And I try to hold back the feelings fighting for expression. I try to burn the image of her into my mind. And then...
マスター、命令を。あなたの命がなければ、あれは破壊できない。
Her back still to me. She tells me to use my final command spell. When the Holy Grail is destroyed, Saber will disappear. No. Since Saber will destroy the Holy Grail with her own hands, she won't have to become a servant. She only became a servant because she sought the Holy Grail. Destroying it should void her contract, since she will have chosen to do it. The moment she destroys the Holy Grail, her life will end, but she will remain king forever.
シロ、あなたの声で聞かせてほしい。
I hear Saber. Every time I hear her voice, I want to scream. I want to tell her not to go. I want to scream my real, honest desire. I want her to stay. And yet, I can't ever say that. I love Saber. I want her to be happy more than anything else. And I want to be with her forever. But if I really love her, that's not what I should be doing. I love Saber for fighting her hardest, even when she was wounded. She gave up everything. And while she was torn apart, she still held to her conviction, even to the very end. If I think that is beautiful, if I think that is something worth protecting, then I can't destroy everything she stood for just for my own happiness. She was born a king, and that's how she lived. Nothing can change that. From the moment she drew the sword and made her vow, she was king, nothing else. That is her conviction. She fought her battles until the very end, believing she was doing the right thing. The dream of a young girl named Artoria. She abandoned her own life and chose to be king. She chose to fight. Even when she was told that everything she does would go unrewarded, she still wielded the sword and kept to her vow as king. That lasted for many years. I can't do anything to tarnish the pride she held to until her final moments.
セイバー、その責務を果たしてくれ。
Her voice is heavy. My voice is heavy with emotion. Light flares around us. The brilliant ray cuts the hollow in front of us in half, leaving no trace of it. Nothing remains. The mountain's summit has been blasted away, leaving only a smoldering wasteland behind. In the distance, the first rays of dawn light the sky. A glimmer of gold peeks over the horizon. My left hand hurts. The final command spell disappears. And then, I accept that it's finally over.
これで終わったのですね。
We won, guys. But at a cost.
あ、これで終わりだ。もう何も残ってない。
そうですか。では私たちの契約もここまでですね。あなたの剣となり、敵を撃ち、近江を守った。
You did, Saber. You did.
この約束を果たせてよかった。
そうだな。セイバーはよくやってくれた。
I don't know what else to say. Saber's far away. I don't try to run to her. The sun rises. The wind starts to pick up. A golden glimmer shines, seeming to last forever. In it,
最後に一つだけ伝えないと。
I can hear the determination in her voice.
なあ、どんな。
I try to at least sound strong. Saber sways. She turns. Saber looks straight at me and says, her voice clear.
シロ、あなたを愛している。
She said it. The wind blows over the mountaintop. For a moment, I close my eyes, blinded by the morning sun. Then I open them again. I don't think I was surprised. I just had a feeling. Our goodbye was always going to be like this. All I see is the wasteland. Saber is gone, carried off by the gusting wind. Just like when she appeared. She left with grace, without a trace.
ああ、本当にお前らしい。
There are no regrets in my voice. Every memory, both of what I've lost and what I've gained, remains in my heart. I'll keep them all there. Forever. I look out at the rising sun, hoping I never forget any of this, that none of it fades from my mind for a long time to come. I watch the morning glow spreading over the distant land below. It reminds me of the golden field she fought on. Epilogue. I hear a creaking sound. It's the old, heavy, rusted door of the shed opening. Light pours into the crack of the door. It's enough to wake me up.
先輩、起きてますか?
That's a voice I haven't heard in a while. I don't even need to look to know who's approaching. It must be that time already. I take a deep breath and open my eyes.
おはようございます、先輩。そろそろ時間ですよ。
うん。そうみたいだ。おはよう、さくら。起こしに来てくれてサンキューな。い
え、お礼を言われることじゃありません。先輩ならきちんと起きてくれるって分かってましたから、私は余計なことをしただけなんです。
そっか。けど、ならなんでわざわざ起こしに来てくれたんだ？
わざわざじゃありません。今朝は先輩を起こしたくなって、いつもより30分も早起きしたんです。今日は特別な日ですから。
Then I remember. That's right. It is a special day.
さくら、聞くまでもないと思うんだが、藤音はまだ来てないよな。
はい、内村先生はまだ。あ、でもイリアちゃんは先に来てます。
I knew it. If Ilya is here, then that can only mean one thing.
まずい。さくら、すまないんだけど、朝食の支度を頼む。俺、ひとっ走りして藤音を叩き起こしてくる。
あ、はい。ご苦労様です、先輩。
Luckily, I was up late last night, so I'm still in my work clothes. I'm glad I don't need to change to head out.
10分で戻るから、あとはよろしく頼む。
はい、任せちゃってください。あれ、シロ起きてる。
あ、今起きた。ちょっと藤音を起こしてくるから、さくらの手伝いをしてやってくれ。
I pat Ilya on the shoulder and head to the front entrance.
やられた。もう、シロは私が起こしに行くって言ったでしょ。さくら
Ilya fumes at Sakura as she stomps over to the shed. This sort of thing is hardly unusual anymore. Ilya said she wasn't going to return to her home country, so I talked to Fujine about taking her in. She was vehemently opposed and suggested that she would take in Ilya at her house. Since then, Ilya has been staying at the Fujimura house, and, of course, she's been coming over with Fujine mornings and nights. It goes without saying that they're coming for breakfast and dinner. The two have been living together for 2 months now, and they're practically joined at the hip. That's a nice thing. I like that. When I pass near the shed wall, I hear Sakura and Ilya talking. Ilya is pretty blunt, so I thought she wouldn't get along with Sakura, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Like an odd couple. Ilya is energetic while Sakura is more laid back. It seems they get along in spite of their differences. In fact, Sakura has regained their usual cheer thanks to Ilya. Ever since Sakura's older brother Shinji disappeared and was listed as missing, she'd stopped smiling. She must have sensed that he had something to do with the mass coma incident at school. Fretting over Shinji, Sakura shut herself away. It was Ilya who forced her to get over it, and Sakura is her normal, cheerful self whenever she's with Ilya.
さくら、笑えるようになったよな。
I'm truly happy about that. Sakura's most herself when she's smiling that gentle smile of hers.
ひどいよイリアちゃん。何があっても起こしてって臨時ボーナスまであげたのに。
Fujine is in tears as she shovels breakfast into her mouth.
当然よ。タイガーを待ってたら私まで遅れるし、給金分は義理を果たしたわ。あれ以上の働きを要求するなら臨時じゃなくて基本給をアップさせることね。
むむ。私だけじゃなくおじいさまからももらってるくせに、どうしてこの子は主戦度なのかしら。若い頃からお金にうるさいと周りの子に嫌われちゃうぞ。
嫌われて結構よ。好きな人以外なら何を思われても関係ないもの。それよりタイガー、貸したお金ちゃんと返してよね。給料日5日前だったんでしょ。
なんでそんなこと知ってるのよあなた。
タイガに聞いたわ。お望みなら明細まで話してあげてよ。
Ilya grins wryly. Unlike her more friendly relationship with Sakura, Ilya and Taiga are practically cats and dogs. Ilya gets really mean with Fujine. Even her smile reminds me of a certain someone's smirk.
返済は明日までね。できなかったらタイガのお小遣いから引いていくから。
Oh, damn.
おじいさま、そんなことまであなたに話したの？
ええ、お昼はずっと一緒だもん。タイガね、タイガより可愛いって褒めてくれたわ。
Oh, man.
どうしてくれるのよシロ。この子とんだ悪魔っ子じゃない。このままじゃ藤村組が乗っ取られるわ。
More importantly, why does a grown woman still get an allowance from her grandfather?
いってらっしゃいシロ。今日は早いんでしょ。ならここで待ってるからすぐに帰ってきてね。
努力する。留守番よろしくな、イリア。
いっそのことここの子になっちゃえバカ。
Fujine sulks as she hides behind my back.
はいはい、タイガも気を引き締めなさいよね。外でシロに迷惑かけちゃダメなんだから。
Ilya shrugs off Taiga's comment. Looks like Fujine isn't really in a position to push back against Ilya.
じゃあ先に行ってるけど、のんびり歩いて遅刻しちゃダメよシロ。
Fujine lets out an engine roar and disappears like a speeding bullet. She got her driver's license last month. Since then, she's been late for school a lot less often. But now she has a new nickname, Rocket Tiger. Rocket Diver. She's the only one who doesn't know about it. I stretch and take a deep breath. Sakura already left for school. She ate a pretty big bowl of rice this morning, so she must be pretty driven today. Today is a big day for the Kyoto Club. Now that she's the vice captain, Sakura must be really determined and enthusiastic today.
さて、それじゃ。
Go to school too. Today is April 7th. Schools are starting the new year, and the season has gone from the cold of winter to spring. It's been 2 months. I feel like a lot has changed since she left, but the changes all seem minor. Winter is over and it's finally spring. That's the only thing that's changed. I might have grown and matured, but I'm not a different person or anything. So, not that much has changed. Shiro Emiya is still clumsily stumbling along in Kiritsugu's footsteps.
おはようエミヤくん。朝から顔を合わせるなんて奇遇ね。
おっす。今日もいい天気だな、登坂。
I wave in greeting.
けど奇遇か？ここ最近よくニアミスするだろう。まあいや、そりゃ今までこう頻繁に出くわすことはなかったけど。
出くわすってあなたね。
Tosaka narrows her eyes and glares at me, unhappy about how I phrased that. I don't think getting angry so early in the morning is good for you.
遠坂、もしかして登校時間変えたのか？前はもうちょっと遅かっただろ。早すぎず遅すぎずって時間だった。